Welcome, listeners, to Off Over 50 and Fired Now What with Linda
and Shelley.
So we're finalizing our series on interviewing by doing another one-off focused on the key principles of what to consider when interviewing.
Okay, Linda, but as always, before we start our offshoot, let's talk about this week's wine recommendation.
And what is it, Shelley? A red, perhaps?
Maybe. Maybe. It's actually a Malbec. It's called Cruz Alta, and it's a Cruz Alta Reserve from Argentina.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Now back to interviewing. So based on the last few episodes that Shelley and I have had on interviewing and all the feedback that we've gotten from other sources, we wanted to kind of crystallize everything into some key principles to remember as you're preparing for interviews. So, principle number 1, use STAR. And if everyone remembers from episode 26, STAR is all about making sure you're giving examples to different questions that people are asking in an interview and using a situation, a task, an action that you did, and then the results you got from all of your actions. And this should be the fundamental structure to prepare for your interview. Remember, it's all about conveying what can you bring to the company and to the role. And right. Results always speak best.
Yep, Lynn. And the second one is knowing your audience, right? So what stage are you in the interview process? It could be screening, it could be hiring, it could be the manager or peer. So, who are you dealing with there, and how do you really make sure that you understand, a little bit more about them? Like, what would somebody as a hiring manager be looking for? It could be cultural fit. I know one thing that Linda does great, and of course I don't do well, but I'm going to preach about it right now, is leveraging LinkedIn to understand a little bit more about their background. And I'll tell you what, it's probably a really invaluable resource that I need to leverage more.
Right. And not only just LinkedIn, but you can also use like recruiters and the HR contact to really understand and help assess like what they're looking for. So ask a lot of questions to that initial screening person who's maybe found your resume or who you've submitted your resume to. They have a lot of information that could be valuable as you prepare.
Right. And you can't be afraid to ask those questions.
Absolutely. So the other is not only the people who you're going to be interviewing, but what environment is that interview going to take place in. So it's really important to understand that you're ready for that environment, whether it's on the phone, it's a conversation, whether it's virtual or it's in person. Make sure you're ready and you feel comfortable. And take advantage of the environment. So in some cases, for example, if you're on the phone, you can have as many notes and things that you can kind of look to, and you can make yourself a little bit more comfortable in getting ready. In other cases where you have an in-person, you can make an impression with your presence, how confident you look and feel and all of that, and your body language. But the most important thing is make sure that you understand what could lead to potential disruptions or unfavorable impressions, and to negate those at all costs.
So that was number 3, prepare for your environment. The fourth one is about being authentic. You need to ensure in all your interview interactions that you're sincere and you're genuine. And that what we had indicated in our branding series, it's really important that comes through overall. And you want to make sure that you're focusing on your true skills. You want to talk about and leverage your capabilities to reinforce why folks really want to hire you.
Yeah, as the person says, keep it real. I can't remember what famous person has a show, but keeping it real. And you need to do that. You make sure that however you present yourselves and your skill sets and your capabilities, that you make sure that they're true to what you can offer. You don't want to oversell yourself.
Or undersell.
But definitely not to oversell. You don't want to say that you can do something that you really can't, especially since you're portraying someone who is very, experienced and supposedly wise at this point, and you shouldn't be overselling yourself. Definitely not.
So you always got to find that balance between the two.
That's right.
It really helps you in the process.
Now, number 5 is leverage your experience as an asset. Use the years of experience to your advantage. You don't have to shy away from it, right, Shelley?
Right.
You're over 50.
Yep.
Use that as an advantage. Embrace it. And make sure that you're understanding that you're bringing a lot to the organization and to the company that you're pursuing.
Right. And the 6th one is all about practice. You want to make sure that you take the time really to assess, the types of questions that they might ask you, and you want to prepare for that. You want to make sure that as Linda had mentioned earlier, around the whole STAR, that, you're leveraging that component. And you want to make sure that you also have friends who can challenge you with some business questions or interview questions that might make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, but they're uncomfortable with them, and you're more well prepared when you actually go out on for the real deal.
And number 7 is very important. Don't get discouraged. Be persistent, right, Shelley?
Right. You don't want to be, don't get discouraged and be a Debbie Downer, because we're on the journey and it will continue and you'll only get better.
So, right. Make sure that you use every interview and every stage as you're going through as a learning opportunity to do better the next time around.
Yep. So we hope that you use these 7 interviewing principles to get positive results so that you can be discussing the next phase, which is salary negotiations. So join us next week for salary negotiations.
So as always, you can find all of the information that we just discussed on our OFF toolkit and, of course, our wine recommendations on our website, www.over50andfire.com. Please give us your feedback and stories by going to our website and clicking on Contact Us. Or you can email us at offnowwhat@gmail.com.
Thanks
for listening. Bye.